Hey there, Kaijudo duelists. ReefPrince here with an extra middle of the week episode. What I want to talk about today has to do with the way mana is handled in Kaijudo versus the way it's handled in Duel Masters. Now, I'm just going to recap that real quick. In order to play a 3-cost water spell in Duel Masters, you would have to tap 3 cards in your mana zone, and at least one of the cards that you tap had to be blue. In order to play that same spell in Kaijudo, you would have to tap 3 cards in your mana zone, and you had to have a blue card in your mana zone somewhere. It doesn't matter if you tapped it or not. At the onset of Kaijudo, Carl had mentioned in one of his videos that this new mana ruling would be kind of an issue if Wizards ever decided that they wanted to release multi-civ cards. Now, that is a valid point, don't get me wrong, but it's also something that we probably won't have to deal with for several months now, due to the fact that in Duel Masters we didn't get multi-civ cards until set 10, so even if they push stuff really fast, I don't see us getting multi-civ cards until maybe set 5 or 6. For now, it just appears like the mana ruling is just kind of a subtle change that streamlines multicolored decks just a little bit, or so we thought. It all started on Saturday with the league play. I was testing my Rusalka Rushdown deck against Carl's Hyperspeed Dragon build, and every once in a while I would do some sort of play that would not have been possible if it weren't for the particular way that Kaijudo handles the mana as opposed to when it was Duel Masters. And the more and more we paid attention to it, the more we realized that it's happening kind of a lot. And that's when we coined the term Manabending. Now, Manabending is whenever you make a play or a series of plays that would not have been possible using the old Duel Masters mana ruling. Now, the reason that this is significant is because it makes rush decks like my Rusalka Rushdown a lot more powerful. And through more playtesting, we just saw more examples of mana bending, and Carl asked me to keep track of all of the times that I had to use mana bending for Sunday's tournament. And since I had planned on taking good notes anyway, I figured, no problem, I'll do that. What I found out was that out of 11 tournament games that I played on Sunday, I had approximately that many instances where I had to mana bend in order to make a particular play. 2 of the most significant ones were, first was against Billy, where I dropped a turn 1 Magris with a light mana, and on the second turn I played a red mana and was allowed to use 2 Blaze Belchers. Now, that's probably the worst case scenario in terms of mana bending being really strong, but it happened. The second was I went up to 4 mana on one of my turns, and I played Logos Scan with 3 of those mana. Now I have a fire 1-drop and a light 1-drop in the deck, so for Duel Masters I'd have to pick which mana to leave open and hope for the best. And I made the choice. I was like, okay, I'm going to leave my yellow open, and I drew a Blaze Belcher, and I was still able to play it because it doesn't matter. The mana works differently now. Now, for those of you who don't believe that mana bending is at least noteworthy, allow me to present the following idea. Most of us Kaijudo players are old Duel Masters players who are coming back for the new game, and as such, we judge Kaijudo cards based on how they would perform in a Duel Masters universe, which is fine because the games are, functionally equivalent. We already know that Terror Pit is awesome, Root Trap is awesome, Crystal Memory, Bronze Arm Tribe, Morna, stuff like that. Those cards were really good in Duel Masters, and they will continue to be good in Kaijudo. The difference is, now that we have a new way of dealing with mana, we may need to alter our perception just a little bit for certain decks or even certain cards. This will especially hold true if we ever see new Kaijudo cards that interact with our mana zone. And if we do get those cards, they might not perform as well or as poorly as we might expect if we remain in this Duel Masters mindset. Well, that about covers everything that I wanted to talk about today. And the last question that I have is, what do you guys think? I want to hear you guys' comments about the impact you think that the new mana ruling has on Kaijudo, if you think it makes a significant impact. So until next time, I'm ReefPrince.